Hey there, it's Brian McLeod, and a weirdly cool thing that directly benefits you just happened. So I thought I'd make you this quick video and tell you all about it. Let's get right to it. Number one, I got a great new book for Father's Day. My mom must have seen with me, maybe we watched it together, George Lois on Letterman a little while back. He was great. He was really funny and really entertaining. And if you don't know who he is, George is an absolute icon in advertising, a legendary New York ad man. In fact, even though it pisses him off royally, people are constantly calling George the original madman because Don Draper. I mean, look at the guy in his 30s. He was Don Draper in the early 60s in the crazy advertising era that Mad Men has made such a hit on TV. But more important is the work. And this guy has created some of the biggest ideas in the world, and certainly some of you youngins may not be familiar with the I Want My MTV days, but those of us who are in our 30s and 40s and beyond, we certainly remember a time in the early 80s when it was just screamed from the cable constantly, call your cable company and tell them I want my MTV. Well, here's the guy who engineered that entire movement that changed popular American culture forever. So he's just a really interesting guy, right? Well, here's where the story gets weird. I'm chatting with my pal, a frequent partner in marketing mischief, Mr. Eric Stafford. You guys probably know Eric. He's like maybe the funniest guy on Facebook. Fantastic direct response designer and creative director, author of The Money Brand. Very smart, clever guy. Also a real good pal of mine. So we're chit-chatting, mostly shooting the breeze. We're trying to catch up on things after a couple weeks and talking about what we did for Father's Day. Incidentally, that's two nice pictures of not me and not Eric chatting. But, that's when I mentioned to him, I was like, oh, man, I got a great book from my mom for Father's Day. I got this book from George Lois called Damn Good Advice. And Eric's like, oh, yeah, Dan, that's cool. Thanks again, by the way, for helping me clean up that audio for my interview with him. Huh? I was like, what did you just say? And he's like, yeah, dude, I sent you that interview a couple years ago. You cleaned it up for me. You cleaned the audio up for me. The audio recording was pretty bad, but the call was badass, he says. Lo and behold, I had completely forgotten about this thing. This had been a couple of years now. So I asked him to send the link over to me, and voila, here was this great interview I'd completely forgotten about. And of course it was totally interesting to me because here I am reading the book, and now it took on a whole new dimension. Problem was the audio still sounded like shit to me, to be honest. I don't know if maybe Eric screwed up and didn't post the one that I cleaned up because that didn't sound very good. So having now started reading this book, and I'm just fascinated by this conversation with him, but it sounded like shit. So I decided to take one more quick whack at it. I pulled it into my audio software, cleaned it up a little bit better, because frankly, an interview with this guy, with George Lois, deserves that for the archives, right? And for time immortal. So did it, cleaned it up. It's a lot better. And with Eric's generous blessing, here is that new and improved recording I just created for your listening pleasure. It is absolutely free. There's no opt-in. You can just click the button to play it or download it. And here's where you go, brianmcleodmarketing.com/George Lois. And that's Lois, L-O-I-S, George Lois. That's it, brianmcleodmarketing.com/George Lois. And you can go listen to the audio. It's about an hour-long interview, and it's really great if you pick up a copy of Damn Good Advice, which is a really fun read, very light, full of illustrations and little anecdotes. It's not a heavy theory book. It's not a text book or anything like that. It's more like an anecdotal memoir, and it's a lot of fun to read. So you should definitely pick it up. It's like under $10 on Amazon. So I hope you enjoy our little treat and the weird little thing that happened, this little weird serendipity with George Lois this week and Eric Stafford. Hope it is useful to you. I think, if you can find some inspiration in this call, it was definitely worth my time. If you're not on my list, if you'd like to get more cool stuff like this from me and you don't know, where you would get it, it's easy to subscribe to my little private email list where I send stuff like this out all the time. It's at brianmcleodmarketing.com/private list. So see you there. See you on Facebook, facebook.com, Brian McLeod. And look forward to talking to you later. Enjoy.